What is up, Wizards fans? Welcome to another Believe in Wizards podcast. I'm Matt Modderno. He's Jahadi White. Only one of us could probably guard a stop sign at this point, and it isn't me. Jahadi, how's it going?
It was going good till you started off like that. Look,
sorry, man. I couldn't help it.
Obviously, it's much more than me who can't guard stop signs.
It's contagious, man. I don't know. I was saying I couldn't guard a stop sign. I know you still can.
Listen, I can do a better job of not guarding stop signs right now.
No, we need your rim protection right now out on the Wizards actively. They could use the rebounding help more than anything, and that's probably a really good place to start. This mostly recent game against the Magic, Denny Avdia with 4 rebounds, Kyle Kuzma with 3 rebounds. Let's see, Daniel Gafford with 3 rebounds, and Jordan Poole, I think, was actually the leading rebounder with 5 rebounds. That can't happen in a game you want to win, especially against a bigger kind of physical Magic team. So, although Magic were without their starting center, Wendell Carter Jr. too. So, I don't know, man. Like this is a bad rebounding team. That's what we talked about from day one.
Like you said, they're without their starting center, which are their leading rebounder, and we still couldn't get any rebounds. And the Magic isn't they have some big bodies. They have a Benchero out there, but we shouldn't be incapable of rebounding that bad.
They're not the most physical team in the league or anything like that.
And what you always expect Kuzma to bring his rebounding instincts. When everything falls, okay, we can rely on Kuzma to bring his rebounding instincts.
Mm-hmm.
But they wasn't there either. Gafford still has to be a much better rebounder than he is. He has the ability. He has to learn how to use his body more and his instincts more, and have to think rebounding first.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're expecting him to bring a lot of offensive power to the game, even though he's bringing much more than he usually would, right? But he still now has to say, okay, I'm starting to add doing a great job of being a rim protector now, right? He's getting some drop-offs now. He's being a much more efficient scorer. He's giving us a little bit more on the scoring end.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has to say, rebound has to be my top priority, along with everything else. So then that's the issue. We have to, when things fall, we have to be able to rely on one guy for sure that say, okay, we may not have a good rebounding day to day, but Gafford, he has to step up to the plate. We have to know that he's going to be sustainable. We can depend on him to give us at least 10 to 13.
It feels like he was just sort of out of position a whole lot in that game, scrambling to make up for how bad the perimeter defense was. And I definitely think that threw them off a little bit. Before we get too far into this, we're brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside Hard Iced Teas, Hard Lemonades, and BetOnline. It's your number one source for all your betting needs. You can get your latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, UFC, tennis, the NBA, whatever else you want. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games. They're available right from your phone. And you can head to the website or use your mobile device and use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for 50% off your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Drew Gooden had this stat on the broadcast the other day that they have the worst rebounding, actually a couple games ago, but the worst rebounding differential in NBA history through, 13, 14 games, whatever it was at the time. I don't think that's really gotten better since then. And you're talking about Gafford there. In a game where a team doesn't have their starting center, you need better from him than, let's see, what did he have for the night here? Gafford had
4 or 5.
4 points, 4 assists, which was interesting. 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah, he needs to feast on those guys.
As a middleman, that's absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Right? And if you even consider, okay, if Gafford can step up his rebounding stats, those close games that we were close in, rebounding most of the time is second shot opportunities.
Sure.
That's an extra possession usually.
Yeah, giving them freebies. Yeah.
Right. Not only that, he has to consider rebounders the backboard is his point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The backboard is Gafford. The backboard. How many passes do you get a game?
Not too many post-up opportunities they're giving him these days. That kind of went away already.
That glass with the box in it
Yeah.
is the best point guard you ever had.
I love that. Yeah.
Right. And now you have to look at it that way. That's the perspective you got to take it. So now everything off the glass is an opportunity for me to score.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double stat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. You could really pad that stat line pretty quickly if you just
double stat. Talk to Moses Malone made the best out of that.
Yeah. I mean, they had Marcin Gortat in here to work with him last year to set screens, and then he ended up setting a bunch of legal screens. But how do you help a guy work on his rebounding? Like at this point, like I know you've been doing some drills with other players and stuff like that, and even your own sons. Like, what's the best way to get a guy to? Do you have to have a feel for it somewhat, just kind of naturally, or can you teach rebounding?
So rebound, it has to be on your top of your mental list. Just like when I walk in the game and I'm saying I want to score 30. When I walk in the game, first thing I have to say is I want to get at least 15.
Sure.
My goal is to get 15.
Mm-hmm.
So now you say, how do I get 15? So every position you're in on the court, especially defensively, you want to put yourself in the position to be able to play defense, but also in the position to be in a rebound position right away.
Yeah.
So not only that, now I'm instinctually looking for shots or expecting shots or looking at somebody that look like they about the feel of a shot about to go up. Most people say when the ball's in the air, that's when you box out. Well, that's way too late because now you're boxing out along with 10 other people on the court, right? You have to be in box out position before everybody instinctually reacts to the shot going up.
And beat him to the spot, right?
Right. So you have to be in some type of position to say, hey, I got an advantage on my man, right? That's the first thing you do. Secondly, you can't just get rebounds that's in your little area. Sure. You have to be able to rebound outside of your area. So you got to travel and get as many boards. If you want to give yourself a quota, you got to give yourself a quota each night, and you got to fight for your quota, right? So if you give yourself a quota, you eventually find it. That's now the main priority when you get on the floor. You know you can do other stuff now. Those don't go out the window. But now you're adding on a major factor of rebounding. So now your instincts got to be quicker. You almost have to sniff it out. If I see a guy dribbling the ball, it's kind of harder now because now they have these headsy moves.
Sure.
But even then, if I see a guy dribbling the ball and bringing that ball to his opposite hand, that means a pass or a rebound. So now instinctually, I'm already setting myself up to get on a certain position on the side of the man to be able to rebound. Also, still looking at the guy with the ball, saying it may be a rebound, so I'm already set for rebound position, but it may be a pass too, right? So all of that. Then, problem with a lot of guys, they rebound with their hands down, trying to grab the man behind them, right? So now it's a lot. If they hits off the rim really fast, it's going to go over your head. It's going to be like a shotgun. So it's all type of things. But, the best thing probably to do for Gafford right now is have him throw the ball off the backboard on one box and catch it on the other box and just keep doing that drill.
Just practice, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, and it's been long enough, I don't have the exact stat or whatever, but Robin Lopez for the Wizards didn't put up particularly good rebound numbers, per 36, but the team's rebound differential was so much better with him in the game because he was like an elite boxer outer. Like he was keeping two guys off the glass by himself. And I think there are ways you could impact rebounding like that beyond more than just your actual rebound numbers. But it's not like that's happening with Gafford. Like nobody's getting the board on the Wizards.
It's the rule. If I'm not getting it, you're definitely not getting it.
Right, exactly.
Right. We both won't get it.
Yep. And I do think it has to be more of a team thing. I've been pretty solid on Denny Avdia's rebounding. I think Kyle Kuzma's been a good defensive rebounder, especially the first year he was a Wizard. He was great. It's kind of trailed off a little bit the more they've given him perimeter-oriented stuff to do. But, it's just you need like a team approach. And some of these guys, you see a lot of this move when the ball goes up. And it's like...
With no hands move.
Exactly. Like I don't know. I think that's got to be a total team emphasis. And we talked about this from day one. It's not like they didn't see this coming. And the fact that it's just this bad and they still haven't done enough to address it. I don't know how you can see that as a coaching staff and not think like this is priority number one. Granted, the defense is shit too, but at least if you could limit those second chance points, it would save you a little bit.
It's tough and that's the thing. Most coaching staffs don't have that guy. Because you don't the big man position is kind of obsolete now. Yeah. Right. But the problem is the rebounding big man position isn't.
Yeah, you need that. Every good team has that guy, right? That shuts down
now
the boards.
Teams say, well, we don't really need somebody to be a big man coach because now everything is a stretch five. Not on the defensive end of the court,
right?
Not offensive rebounding wise, right? So now you took the guy who could teach those instincts, that has experience in doing those things naturally. He's not on your coaching staff.
Yeah.
And it may be small until you get in situations like this to where, hey, we can't get second chance opportunities. Not only that, we're losing close games because the rebounding differential.
I heard that there was a big thing over the summer that Hakeem Olajuwon charges $50,000 per session to teach post moves. Maybe you could ask for a similar fee to come in and teach these guys how to rebound a little bit.
Hey, man, I may have to take you up on that. For real.
Wizards, give us a call. We'll make something happen here. Another kind of distressing thing in that game is just the playmaking a little bit. I thought Kuzma's been really good at playmaking for this team. He's dished out at least 5 assists in 6 of their last 7 games. He's been on like the uptick from that respect. 13 times this year he's led them in scoring, but 6 times he's led them in assists. Denny has collected at least 5 assists in 8 different games this season, including the last 2. Like, those guys have really picked up the slack here for the guards that aren't really creating much. And I thought that was going to be the biggest thing that Tyus Jones would bring, is like creating a few easy looks for some of these other guys. And they've kind of relegated him almost to like spot up shooter, occasional driver, floater shooter. Like, it's just, if he's not going to be able to create for others, I don't really see a ton of value from having a 6-foot spot up shooting specialist on the team, because he's getting torched defensively. Poole's getting torched defensively. So, like, I'd rather have Kispert out there if all you're going to ask that player to do is shoot from the corner.
Well, I was impressed by Tyus this year at the beginning.
Yeah, it's trailed off, though.
He was bringing us more offensive presence.
Yeah, I agree.
That was unexpected.
Sure.
He's getting us those floaters, getting us those shots, right? But you're right. But him bringing that, he's now kind of going away from what the point guard's supposed to do, right? The facilitator. He's not the facilitator or getting the guys, but I don't think he has to be as much as we think we need him to be.
Yeah, if those other guys can do it, yeah.
Because you look at it, our offensive side of things has improved significantly.
Yeah, I think so. It's not it's not the reason they're getting pummeled.
We're not getting our ass kicked because we're not really executing offensively. We were.
Sure, we were early, yeah.
Right, but I mean, the ball moving now is great. The back cuts, I'm seeing really good back cuts. I mean, even from Kispert. I mean, we get even the second unit, we're getting great back cuts. Yep. Denny, great back cuts. 3-point field goal percentage with Denny is amazing, right?
Yeah, he's been a lot better.
Kuzma is now playing a much more solid game. Man, he's very good at facilitating right now. Yep. The Kuzma Denny 2-man game.
I love that. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, their chemistry is great.
So the Denny Kuzma 2-man game is crazy. Gafford is starting to bring some intensity. Now you have Bilal Coulibaly that's definitely going to do what he does, right? So offensive wise, we're growing. We're growing as a team offensive wise. I see it every day, right? We're staying in games with some major teams. I mean, the Milwaukee games, right? We're right there, right? We hanging in. Even this Orlando game, if we could play some damn defense, we've been right there in this game.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? So it's not whatever we're doing on defense, or who's ever working on putting that system together, offense, whoever's working on really pushing that system offensively wise,
It's working.
they're doing a good job.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. So now it's
the other end.
it comes down to just defense and rebounding. I was watching the Orlando game, and every time down the court, they would get paint touches.
They were blowing by dudes on the perimeter, like standstill
every time, and then no help,
none. Yeah.
So when I was looking at, so I'm saying, okay, I see our defensive scheme. We're pushing the man toward the baseline. So if I'm top, I'm either going to push him. If I'm top, he's up top. I'm either going to push him right or left, right,
sure.
right. But if he's on the side, I'm pushing him toward the baseline. Mm-hmm. The help guy who's supposed to stop the lane in the middle, to where as soon as he catch the ball to see it, the guy should already be there.
Yeah, they're on the opposite side of the paint every time. It's like he left the whole middle open. Yeah,
right. Even when he's there, we're still getting downhill. Yep. I'm gonna tell you who was killing me was Gallinari.
He was so slow. It was bad.
Gallinari was killing me, man.
If anyone wants an idea of what I look like playing pickup basketball, it's that, unfortunately. And as someone who is just gets torched defensively, I feel qualified to point out that he was the slowest guy I've ever seen on the basketball court. It wasn't even like he was trying to move and was too slow to get there. They were just blowing by.
They were just pushing him down. It was too slow.
Yeah.
It was actually points he was there, but they still
didn't matter.
Still get down the paint and all the way to get a layup. Mm-hmm. And Tyus Jones too, man. He was just guarding this man. He wasn't helping at all.
It's like middle school face guarding almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't win like that in an NBA game. And this is the first thing. You sent this to me, and I had it on our show rundown to talk about. So I'm glad we both saw the same thing. Was the Kyle Kuzma quote? And Josh Robbins asked basically about their defense, and Josh Robbins, the Athletic, does a great job. And Kuzma's reaction to their defense was, "We can't guard a stop sign." That's what it kind of really boils down to. We let anybody get whatever they want on us. So until we change that, that's probably going to be the result.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
He's not wrong, but do you have any problem with him saying that way? And I mean,
no.
Okay. I like it too.
And I'm glad he said it.
Yeah.
Because somebody needs, my take on Kuzma saying that is, first off, it's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. Second off, he cares.
Yeah.
And my issue is, it's a lot of guys there's certain guys that I don't feel like who care to win. They just care to play and care to be on the floor. Yeah. Right?
They're getting defensive cardio is basically all it is.
Yeah. So it's all about just we're going to lose anyway. How many points can I put up? Mm-hmm. Like, how can I make sure I keep my stats high? Yep. You know, I see a few guys I feel like are doing that sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
And Kuzma's like, nah, man, we want to win. We out here to win. We out here to make an impact. We out here to, what are you playing for if not that? So defense is a big part of that. Mm-hmm. And he's saying, man, and you see him, his game is coming along together. He's trying to really rein some things in his game to look out of control. He's starting to be a much better facilitator. His assists are up. Mm-hmm. Are you going to bring something to the table? Are you going to add into this? Are you going to try to win too?
Right.
And so that's my thing with him saying that. I think he needed to say it.
Yeah, it's challenging everybody else to make some strides too. And
you know who and another thing is when he says it, you know who's he talking about.
Yeah, and they all know who he's talking about too.
Right. But actually it should be two people he's talking to. It's not just one person.
I mean, it's the whole backcourt, to be honest with you. That's
Denny does a good job.
Oh, Denny, sorry. I meant Poole and Jones specifically.
Yeah. Poole and Jones.
And Gallo, I think, isn't even so much an effort thing as just he's a 40-year-old man with no knees and he's heavy and slow. It's just
Yeah, he
you're
just
getting from him what he can give
right
you.
now.
Yeah, that's a tough ask. And someone listening to this will say, well, why doesn't Kyle Kuzma play better defense? Well, I agree. This has been his worst defensive season as a Wizard, in my opinion.
But he's not. But in
He's not
comparison
the
to everybody else,
problem.
no.
Yeah. Like, you could live with what he's doing as the leading scorer of the team and offensive engine for most of these games. His defense is serviceable enough. That's what we always talked about with Brad.
He's
Was
bringing more defensive effort than those two guys.
I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
Right.
And
Much more.
I feel like someone like Denny, and the Denny fans will say I'm a hater again because I'm always perpetually a hater. I think he is a really good defensive player, but he's not the kind of guy that can like change an entire. He doesn't raise the level of your overall team's defense. To me, he's just a very good individual defender. And like, he does some good stuff off ball, and he's a good. I'm not saying he doesn't help, but he's not a team defender. But there are some guys that are so special defensively, they lift the watermark for the whole team. I don't think he can do that by himself because he's not that sort of player. I think Coulibaly is the kind of guy who could eventually be that kind of player because he's long, he's rangy. He can kind of like cause some additional havoc. But Denny's definitely not the problem defensively. He's really solid. I think Kuzma's been good enough for what you're getting from him offensively to offset.
But
I think Gafford
wrong.
tries. It's the backcourt. Like, if your backcourt is that bad, you cannot win games.
Nothing wrong with Denny. Nothing is wrong with Denny's defense.
At all.
Right. I mean, he's a solid defender as far as what you want on a team. He's not, like you said, he's not going to change. He's not a Patrick Beverly or Drew Holiday, and you don't expect him to be.
Yeah.
Right. But also, you expect him to bring on defense what he is. Right. He's doing what you expect for him to do on defense. You can be just fine with that.
Yeah.
Right. You can be satisfied, even more satisfied, with that.
Sure.
Kuzma, he can bring more defensively wise, but he's not super slacking off and just letting
not killing you. Yeah.
Right. He's taking pride in his defense still.
Yeah, he's trying.
The other two do not care about defense at all. It's not a factor. It's not a priority. It's not even an option to them.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the issue.
After the Hawks game, which is 3 games ago now, Bilal Coulibaly said that Wes Unseld Jr. wasn't pleased with the way the Wizards approached the game. And he said, we're not serious, to be honest. We'll just be more serious next game against Detroit. And they went out and beat Detroit, who might be the other worst team in the league. So, I mean, they looked fine in that game. They did what they needed to do. And that's not like a marquee win or anything, but they did enough. But that same game
wasn't for defense either.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right.
Wes Unseld Jr. that same game said where we were 2 weeks ago, how we've played compared to what we've done in the last stretch of games. I think there are a lot of bright spots. He's not really wrong. They're better. The offense is better. All the things you just talked about. But it's funny to me that in the same game that Coulibaly mentioned Unseld trashing their effort or their focus, Unseld comes out and praises how much better they've gotten. So I know you have some insight into Coulibaly and what he maybe wasn't supposed to share with the group here.
First off, with what Wes Jr. said, is it depends on what's the standard.
No, the bar was really low. Yeah,
like it depends on where the bar is.
Yeah, the bar is the ground.
100% correct. I just said it earlier. Mm-hmm. How much better we look offensively.
Yeah.
How much we're moving, much better we're moving the ball. But, where's the bar? Mm-hmm. Right? And then as far as what Coulibaly said, the reason why it sounds like him and Wes are speaking like was in 2 different locker rooms, right, is that Coulibaly just said the quiet part out loud. The thing that was supposed to stay in the locker room, he still has to learn that part. Like, okay, certain things that coach says,
don't leave.
It's just for here.
Yeah.
Right. And probably, coming from overseas, it wasn't that dynamic of where certain things have to stay and certain things can, come out. Right. It's putting, and Coulibaly doesn't matter. He doesn't mind putting weight on a team either. right now, even as a rookie, you notice he's also saying things on purpose too.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't know the rules yet.
Sure.
And so he's not doing it to where, I'm trying to take something that shouldn't be said and say it. But he's also being honest and putting it out there on purpose as well.
Yeah. In the chat, it never makes no sense. Said, how long does it take to fully learn defensive rotation scheme? Bilal looked lost in game 1 against Orlando. To be honest with you, I think the whole team looked lost, and it would be hard for me to point on him specifically. He's one of the guys I had the least problem with, and he also had some of the tougher assignments. Like Franz Wagner is really good at basketball, so having to guard someone like that, or one of their guards, like I think he guarded Suggs for a little bit. Suggs is on a heater right now. Like, so it's a tough ask. The effort is there, but I don't think anyone seems to be locked in on what the scheme is.
Well, first of all, as a rookie, having an assignment to guard the toughest player on the other team.
Yeah, it says a lot.
That's a lot of range people putting in your hands right away.
Yeah.
So that's, that says a lot about him right away. Secondly, when you have that assignment that you have to guard the toughest player on the team, and then you still have to do the same system rotations, it's tough. Right? It is tough.
Yep.
Now, you take both of those things I just said that he has to do, and then put him on a team where no one else is really buying into the defensive principles.
Exactly. It leaves you on an island.
You're going to look out of sorts.
Exactly. It may not be him, right? I think that's the thing. You don't know who's supposed to be where, so it's hard to put the blame on the right person without knowing.
So now, not only I have to guard the toughest guy, I have to be in my positions, my principles within the defensive system, the guidelines we have. But now, the next rotation I'm supposed to make, I see somebody's not there.
Yeah.
So now I have to make all of these little micro decisions that I wasn't supposed to make. And so now, no matter what decision I make, most likely it could be wrong.
Sure. I think this is one of those things where people think about unselfishness on a basketball court, and they mostly think about the offensive end. This is a be unselfish on defense situation. And Coulibaly, I think, sometimes is really unselfish defensively, and no one helps him. So he looks bad out of the play, but no one else is doing the stuff he's trying to do, to back him up too. So he's trying
to back up the backup plan.
Exactly. Right. And there's nothing you can do.
I need a backup plan to back up the backup plan to back up my backup plan. I mean, that's really what he's doing out there. That's too much. And that's ridiculous. Right? So he's trying to help the helper's helper.
There's just no way to work out. Once you're in that situation, it's too late.
Bad. Yeah. Now, if he decided like I'm only making my first help rotation, I'm done. He won't look as bad. Yeah. But he the also the team suffered. So what you can't have it both ways.
Yep. I think every one of us who's played at any level has played some game where you're like, all right, F it. I'm gonna shut down my guy, and it's almost what Tyus is doing to a lesser extent. I'm just like, I'm going to face guard my guy, and I'm going to ignore the other. That's awful. You can't win that game. You can't win.
Face guard. No. Especially another point guard. I mean, yeah, I get playing against, the guy from Villanova. Not Villanova. Son.
Oh, Devin Booker?
Yeah, well, let's use him. Like I get playing against Devin Booker or, the great point guards. All right.
Yeah, sure.
And knowing he really lacks in defensive effort, he's going to resort to face guarding first no matter what, right? Yeah. Because he doesn't trust his defensive effort. Right? But every game,
it's hard.
Every game you face guard and the point guard, like
it's not going to work.
Come on, man.
We're already behind the 8 ball at that point as a team. You got no shot, really. I've already got the Denny fans mad at me for a lifetime, no matter how many nice things I say about him.
Hey, man, Denny's
he's doing great
job, man. You see, man, every time Denny shoots a 3-pointer now, I'm like,
I feel good about it. Yeah,
I'm
take it every time.
it up, man. He's slashing. I tell you this, the Wizards are lucky
that they gave him that deal and it worked out.
They gave if he played like this last year or before the deal.
Yeah, they couldn't afford that now. Yeah.
They can afford him now.
It's one of the few times where a Wizards contract has looked good after signing it, you know?
Right now, the way Denny's playing compared to what his deal is, they got to steal.
I wholeheartedly agree. And we'll say that. And someone will still say that we didn't praise him enough. But now I'm going to have the Jordan Poole fans mad at me too, because I don't want this to be a rag on Jordan Poole thing. The offense has been better. But the other day, Chase Hughes tweeted this out about how Jordan Poole said, it's, quote, really cool being at the top of other teams' opposing team scouting reports. I've seen a lot of coverages, a lot of different coverages. It's honestly just really cool. It just makes you learn as a player. It makes you grow. Go back and watch film. He's not watching film on the defensive end. He's watching how people are covering him. He should be watching how to cover other people.
Right. So
does it all.
So a lot of things in that little part. So first of all, Jordan Poole is right. Yeah, it's cool to be on the top of the scouting report.
Sure.
Right. Then he's young. This is the first time he's been one of the stars of a team.
Yep.
Right. So those are all of the nuances and new factors that's you're now getting to see as becoming that.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is he's on a team where they're losing right now. They're having a lot of issues defensively.
Yeah.
He looks like he's being selfish, right? Just from watching him. I mean, he has just as much lowlights as he does highlights, or even more. Right? So that statement comes off as he doesn't get it yet.
Yeah. Just nobody wants to hear that shit right now. Like, they just don't.
Yeah, no one wants to hear a selfish statement like that. That has nothing to do with your teammates. It has nothing to do with the team. It has nothing to do with like improving the team. It has nothing to do with you trying to offer the team more or give or sacrifice.
Right.
It's just so self-centered and it's clueless.
If I'm a vet on the team, I'm just like face palming right now. Like, what is this guy saying?
And the thing is, it validates what everybody's thinking about him right now.
That's true. Yeah, it's tone deaf. Like you don't hear the commentary. Like yeah, that's rough. All right, I got a bunch of listener questions here for us, so I appreciate everybody sending these in. We're gonna hit as many of them as we can in a reasonable amount of time. Starting with Scratch My Arse. I think the big question eroding my gray matter as when the Wizards will trade Kuzma. January 15th, which is the soonest he can be traded, is soon, and I can't see the reason Kuzma would want to continue to play with the Wizards or for the Wizards, and for the Wizards to not actively look for draft picks in return. The future is not now. And along the same line, DC Sports Nerd 1 said, as a vet, what's it like hearing your name involved in trade rumors? Does it change based on the role you're playing or the team you're playing for? And he was referencing this little Kuzma mini drama. So Jahadi, I know not on like big on Twitter. So someone from the Bullets Forever account, that the place where I write, also tweeted that Kyle Kuzma's trade value was going up. If presuming they do look to trade him, and Kuzma retweeted and said, "Damn, why are you trying to trade me?" As if he is not looking to get out of here, which I personally like, but it's also you can't take that too personally, in my opinion, if you're him either. Like, people are going to ask that when you're on a 3-15 team. So I guess two-parter here. Do you think they'll look to trade him, and should they look to trade him?
I don't know if they're looking to trade him. I honestly think everybody's on the chopping block.
You should consider all options. That's my opinion.
Right now, they said it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Right? When the exact thing they said at the beginning of the year to me right there let me know there's no man safe. Right? Even you're the best players on your team.
Yeah.
So it's all about rebuilding the system, rebuilding the team. So if I'm a player on the Wizards, I have to, and I've been around, I got to understand that. Now, if me being Kuzma, I wouldn't want that. Just got a new contract, me being the face of the team, me caring, right? But does he want to be a Bradley Beal?
Right.
Does he want to be a Bradley Beal and, almost overstay his, his loyalty?
Right. It's probably a little easier for him having won a ring at some point here too. There's a little less pressure.
Right. Yeah, it is. So it is. But from what I see with Kyle Kuzma is he wants to win. He's seen it. He's been there, right? That once you get a taste of that, it's hard to not want to get that again, which is reasons why he's saying what he's saying in the media, holding his team accountable, right? Because he understands what winning is. He's seen it. He's learned from winners. So it's a part of me was like, I'm kind of surprised he may not want to leave. He may not want to leave. But it's also, a part where, man, you're on a team and you're in a situation where it's nothing safe.
Yeah, you got to know that. And I'm sure he does. To be honest with you, there are so many times where people, like, the minute they get to Washington, they want out. Our own broadcaster, Drew Gooden, didn't want to be here the first time he got traded here and asked out the door. So I'm like, I would always prefer a guy like Kuzma, a guy like Denny that say, this is where I want to be. And we want to be here to fix it. To me personally, I like being on the losing team because I think there's that much more payoff when you win. Going somewhere where they already win and being another guy to help them keep winning, I don't think that's as gratifying. So, like, I don't blame them. Now, will he want to do this for 3 years if they're still trash in 3 years? Closer to the end of his deal, I think that's a different story. But to me, he's the kind of guy that helps you fix the culture. And I wouldn't be in a rush to trade that. But to your point, I also wouldn't not trade him if the right deal came along.
Yeah. But I do agree. He's one of the guys that doesn't mind being part of the process of helping you fix the culture, right? You don't have to force him into it.
No, it's comes
because he wants it, because he would want to.
Yeah, I totally agree. Dan Favale, who hosts a really good podcast, the Hardwood Knocks podcast, asked, what is the most shocking part of Bilal Coulibaly game to you so far? To me, it's the shooting. I didn't think he'd shoot it this well.
You didn't think he'd shoot this well?
Not right away. I mean, like, what is it, like 42% from three or something like that? I'm kind of surprised.
To me, it's all the intangibles.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's all the intangibles that really may show up and may not show up. Right? It's the steals, it's the sacrificing your body, it's the block shots. I never knew you can get up and block as many shots. Contest shots, rim protection. It's the diving on the floor. It's the making tough baskets. It's the maturity.
That's a big one.
These factors that's just surprising.
Yeah, the readiness to come in and make an impact right away.
Yeah.
I thought it would take a little longer. When Dan asked that question, I responded yes originally because it's all been a nice, pleasant surprise. So
everything,
I'll take it. Pardon the pronunciation here, Divij, Divij. How to scale up Denny and Bilal Coulibaly's usage with the current roster? Is that something that will be done later in the season? To me, especially in these games when they're out of pocket, it's not just the minutes for Coulibaly. We've talked about this a lot too. Like, I want to see him with on-ball reps. Like, if you're going to leave him out there with other reserves, him running up and down the court, never touching the ball, doesn't do you any good, in my opinion. So I think they could do that now.
I think they need to scale up, definitely, Bilal Coulibaly's minutes.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's not about the minutes, it's the reps. But you can't get the reps without the minutes.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. He's playing like 25 minutes a game, I think. So that's
but he's not touching the ball a lot,
that's
as much.
Right.
So to me, the more minutes, the more opportunity he had to touch the ball, the more they say, okay, he's more of a factor in the entire game as far as how long he's on the court. We have to get him involved. Right? So for him to grow, he has to be on the court. Yeah, you can take him and work on everything, but it doesn't translate into the game until you playing it, try it in the game over and over again. And you probably make some mistakes, yes, but you have to give him the minutes to make those mistakes. Mm-hmm. You have a guy out there that definitely can be a figment in the franchise long term.
Sure. Yeah.
We're losing anyway.
He's the thing that's frustrating is, like, I get when he's out there with all the other starters that they're going to use him more as a defense energy spot up guy. I'm blank on which game specifically, but the game was like well decided. It's the one where Coulibaly hurt his knee and they put him back in at the end, and he just literally ran up and down the court and never touched the ball. In those minutes, I would say you will bring the ball up court and you will initiate the offense.
Because he played point guard and friends.
Yeah, like, let's do that. And if and to your point, like,
situations where I would make sure put him in a situation where he has to touch the ball, where he has to make some other decisions. Right now, he's a very valuable dirty work guy. Yeah. Right? He's probably the best dirty trash guy we have right now.
I think so.
But he has so many skills doing while you watching him be the trash guy. You're like, whoa, he can do that.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a waste of his talents, to be honest with you.
So now you're saying, no, this guy is not just a trash guy. He's a two-way player.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I feel like the Wizards are using him as the ultimate trash guy. Mm-hmm. Right? And trash, guys know what trash is.
I know,
you know what I mean by it.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But
it's the dirty work guy, right?
Like, the dirty work guy. But dude has skills. Mm-hmm. Bring the ball up the court. He can shoot. He can go downhill.
He makes great reads when he drives and kicks to people. Like, he's
great
doing
reads.
Smart stuff.
Make great reads and cuts, right?
Yeah.
Why limit him so early when you're going to need all the things that he brings to the table in this game later on?
Yep.
Right? Like, what's the purpose of handicapping it now? Because what can happen is he can get systemized into now saying, okay, let me start to, decrease and
settle into that role.
Right? Yeah, let me settle in that role, and it'd be hard for you to get him back out. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, go out there and make mistakes. Go out there and fuck up.
Yeah. Easier to rein you back in later if you're doing too much,
Well, not only that, he's already been a pro.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's not that what he's messing up on is not that he doesn't know it. Mm-hmm. It's just that, okay, I'm trying to do it in a new system. So you don't take away what he already knows and what he already knows instinctively and how to play. Mm-hmm. Right? You don't rein in his game because you don't have to.
Yeah.
So, and you don't, and it's going to hurt you in the long run.
I think for fans, especially recently, most of us get it, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of losing this year. And I've gotten the message from a lot of people. Sam Hershey always listens to the show, messaged me the other day. It's getting harder to watch games where he's not involved, because that's really the future of the team. So if they're not going to let him do anything, it's not a lot for fans to kind of tune in for some nights.
It's hard to watch games that Amarui not in.
Yeah, right. Let him just go out and hustle the shit out of stuff. Like, I thought he played really hard in the Magic game.
My whole point is this: like, you can see how those guys, where they can grow to, mm-hmm. where they can help us. You can see right now how the season is going up.
Yeah,
the writing's on the wall. Well, I mean, it's not going to be a miracle and things turn around 180.
Yeah.
Okay, so two guys I know that really can, that has potential to grow and can help us if we get all of the kinks out and get all the rust out and all the mistakes out. It'd be those two guys.
Yeah.
Right. Young guys really don't get a lot of, playing time, but has some unique things to offer us.
Mm-hmm.
Why not mold these now?
I know, this is the year. It should be the year.
Right. Don't mean just because they're in the D League or they're playing in the G League or whatever right now that we're molding this. It's a completely different game.
Totally.
Right?
Rollins is another one I would try.
Right.
Yeah. It's that That's got to have to change for people. And I'm hopeful that, like, I've really enjoyed Landry Shamet the last couple games, especially.
Too.
But if he's not here long term, I'm not going to be sad about it either. Like, he's not going to be in their long term future. So,
I thought, like I said, I thought they put him out there to raise the value, but he's becoming an intricate part of the offense for us. So
he might not. Yeah.
And that's but you're making my entire point.
Yeah.
The more he was on the court, the more he got comfortable, the more he can just play, the more all the thoughts go out your head when you're trying to do everything right and perfect because you got the pressure. Yeah. Once that pressure release, the confidence finds a way through. Now
these guys can all hoop. Yeah.
He's just being he's not a different player.
Right.
He now he's the player you used to.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with these other guys.
Yeah.
But now I don't know if they didn't land. I don't know if Shamet is playing just because trying to get value for him, or is it because they saying, okay, let's really, we decided to make you really a part of what we're doing here.
Honestly, it might be both. Let's figure out if you can be a part of it, and then if not, maybe it does enough to, we'll see how. Like you could kind of do either a fork in the road when you have to, and they've got another month or two to figure that out.
True.
Gabe 13 asked basically the same question about Bilal's usage, but also asked, what are our thoughts on Reed Shepard, freshman guard for Kentucky? I don't know if you've seen him at all this year, but he's been really good. His dad, Jeff Shepard, played in the league for a year or two around your. Yeah. So I don't know if you've seen Reed at all, freshman guard at Kentucky. All I'll say for Reed is he was probably the least heralded guy on a team with Robert Dillingham, DJ Wagner, all these other high profile guards. And he's just been crazy efficient. And them in general is so impressive that 3 freshman guards can play huge usage. And they're playing at an insanely fast pace offensively. And they're like bottom 10 in the NCAA in a good way in turnover percentage. Like they don't turn the ball over playing that fast as freshmen is incredible to me. So I think Shepard's been great.
Now you're saying it's 3 freshman guards?
Yeah, DJ Wagner.
And together, you talking about
just not always playing at the same time, but they have 3 freshman guards
on the team now. Currently, Kentucky has 3 freshman guards on the team now.
Correct. Yeah,
that's super efficient.
Yeah.
Now I haven't seen Reed Shepard yet.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely will because I actually was trying to catch a Kentucky game. I just thought about I missed a Kentucky game yesterday. I was telling somebody about it.
They're really fun to watch.
They went to the University of Kentucky. Yeah. So I have to watch them. I don't have as much insight as I should on them right now, but I'm definitely really interested in watching the University of Kentucky this year.
Their appointment viewing, and last year it was a slog to watch them. They ran like a 1940s offense, and it was terrible. And you're like, this is not a John Calipari, a read and react, drive and kick kind of team here. So they're back to like what made them impressive a couple years ago, just like talented guards and letting them play make. And
that's Kentucky guard capital. It's guard
exactly,
you. Yeah, it's guard you, man. What show is that? Name
Last Chance You, but for guards, the opposite.
No. It's a podcast. 350.
I don't know.
350 podcast. Okay.
I will look it up.
They were talking about they had one guy on there talking about Wake Forest was point guard capital.
Okay.
And they were like, nah, bro, Kentucky. And then they started naming all the point guards that ever came out of Kentucky.
Stacked list.
Yeah. He was like, you still want to say that? He was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, you can't say no to that at a certain point. The guards have been incredible. And he just seems like the latest in the long line. He was like a top 50-ish recruit, but when the other guys are top 10 or top 15, you don't expect him to have as big an impact. And they've all kind of had different moments.
Jeff T. With the podcast with Jeff T.
Oh, yeah. I do not listen to it as regularly as I need to because he says something hilarious every episode.
Man, he's the best. He's the best storyteller out there.
Yeah, he's probably going to be like, he should be the next guy on like the Inside the NBA show with that crew longer term.
Oh, yeah.
Cup of Java asks, what are the roles for each of the Wizards coaches? And what is Wes Unseld Jr.'s approach for each game? What is being done to prepare the team and each player in practice before a game? Not something I think we can answer, but I don't know that they know a lot of the games, but I think we could talk a little bit about just like.
I would like to know as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all curious about that.
Yeah. No, the players might be curious about what his approach is for every game too. Just out of curiosity though, Jai, like in college, I know a lot about roles and responsibilities and who gets different scouts and things like that. Does that work the same way with NBA assistants where David Vanterpool might have the upcoming team, or is everybody working with their individual guy? Like Vanterpool will have, he'll have Jordan Poole, Bilal Coulibaly, and Eugene Amarui are his guys. Is he just working on individual matchups with them, or is there like how does that kind of go?
No, certain coaches are there because you trust. You have to. A head coach can't scout every team. Yeah. It's impossible. So yeah, you're going to pass. You're going to give certain scouts to certain coaches. That's how it goes, right? And doesn't mean that the scouting they scouted wrong. Sure. The coaches we have are good coaches, right? They've been on some great teams and they've been scouting for other teams, having a scout report for that team, right? So that's I don't think that's the issue.
It's guys buying into what the material they're getting, right?
It's how much you buying into the information and how much how serious are you if we're hedging the screen or if we're face guarding this one guy, if we're making sure no points in the paint on this side, for this, whatever the team is that trying to stop their major thing.
This guy likes to only go left. How much are we going to do that?
Yeah. That's how much emphasis are we going to put on this scouting report? Because the information we got and the scout report is mostly, I'm sure it's efficient. I mean, these are professionals that have been doing this for a long time. Right. So it's a point to where just, people can just talk to their blue in the face.
Right. If you're not listening, why? It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Or you just not programmed that way.
Sure.
We may got some guys that right now is not programmed to understand defense. It's a lot of guys in the league that's not.
Sure.
I
think probably more than not.
Like that, and it took them a long time to get there. Right. And these guys are young.
Yeah, I've heard from
Denny, 22.
Yeah, and he's the longest tenured Wizard. Just think about that for a minute.
Denny is 22.
It's crazy to me. I don't even remember 22 anymore.
Boy, they got to steal. They got to steal, baby.
I know. That's been great. We need a couple more of those. So front office, keep it going here. So Kabali, I know we didn't perfectly answer your question here. It is a good one. I'll see if I can get one of the coaches on here, or at least one of the former coaches. I got that kind of in the back pocket here. Jay Scott asked, do you all think Wes lasts the season as a coach? Or sorry, not the season, lasts as a coach all the way through this rebuild? I know he probably will stick around for at least the next 2 seasons. Do you think he's the type of coach that can get the most out of a young team? This is tough. Sometimes guys stick around through the rebuild, and then once the team is better, that's when they bring in a new voice because it's a different stage and you want them to hear different things. Like it was the Brett Brown thing in Philly. Like he got one shot at it post-rebuild, and then they immediately kind of pulled the plug on that. So I think that kind of thing could happen, unfortunately, for Wes.
Well, Wes is my guy, man. I mean, Wes has been around just as a young guy.
And everyone likes this dude, by the way. I'm not trying to shit on him. It's just sometimes guys tune him out.
I get the question, and I get it. I know what you're saying. And it's not he's a good guy. Wes is my guy, right? But at the end of the day, first of all, you just don't get rid of Wes if you don't, because Wes, it has been a part of the organization for a long time. You got to understand that. He's not just a guy they went and found out. He's been with the Wizards before I got there playing with him. He's grown with the Wizards. He's a part of he's literally a figment in the organization. So you don't get rid of him if you don't have anything that's much better. You don't just say, hey, okay, this, and then we get scrambling trying to find one of those top coaches.
Right.
Got to get a good coach. So you don't get rid of him just right away in that way. Also, he may not be the head coach in the next year, but don't mean he won't be there
Yeah, I could see them finding another role for him somewhere
Yeah,
else
he'll
in
be in
Europe
a
too.
role somewhere.
That's kind of how I think. Unless he wants to go coach somewhere else, he'll be a guy that people will want to pick back up as an assistant immediately because he's got a long track record of being a successful assistant.
Yeah,
And some guys are just better.
and he has a
some
lot of information, and he knows his shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the end of the day, he knows his shit.
Yep. Yeah, that's not. It's
may be
exactly what we just talked about. Do guys buy into the shit that he knows? And
he may be, and his shit may have to go through somebody else's mouth.
Exactly.
Paul,
you need the translator sometimes, right?
Hey, sometimes you need a translator.
Yeah. No, I think that's totally spot on. Jeff Hume asked, would you consider starting Shamet and bringing Poole off the bench? 1, to send a message to Poole about the way he's playing. 2, potential of boosting Shamet's trade value. 3, Shamet deserves it. He plays hard and plays D. And then you could have Poole kind of just chill on the second unit or, not have to think as much when he's out there. I said this in a vacuum a couple weeks ago. I think that's a better role for what he's capable of right now. Is just like microwave score. But Shamet's been probably their best two-way shooting guard. But like we talked about before, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that to Poole. It doesn't really boost Shamet's trade value that much. So there's not much incentive for them to do it other than an angry Poole who you're stuck with for 4 years at that point. So I can't see it happening.
It's a great question. It's a great question, but
I agree.
This ain't high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a business.
Yeah.
Right. It's a great question, right? But
they're not going to do it.
It's not going to happen, and you can't do it. You can't do it, first of all, because it's just how far apart the money is.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end of the day, yeah.
One guy's a franchise. One guy's the face of the franchise. Right. He's a franchise player. Right. And at the end of the day, when you brought him in, you said, "Hey, this is going to be your team."
Mm-hmm.
And so
he's on a 4-year deal left, and
it's not how the league goes.
Shamet could leave this year, or so it's
right. And then you can't. You're gonna take the risk of making Poole unhappy,
yeah,
and making Shamet happy,
right? It's not gonna happen.
Makes no sense.
Yep.
Just certain things you don't do. I mean, it's a great thought in the fantasy world, but not realistic.
Shamet has been their best two-way wing of the bunch, in my opinion. He's been a better two-way shooting guard of the group between him, Kispert, and Poole. Whoever else. Yeah, I've appreciated his minutes, and if you want to give him a few more for the rest of his time here,
because before Shamet was damn it.
Now how long you been sitting on that one? That was awesome.
Right. Well, now you're like, hey, okay, Shamet really coming, and like I said before. He's not doing anything different. He's just now playing his game.
Yep, being himself.
Right. And you knew that's what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about it all, early this year.
Pretty much. Noah Mettenheimer asked, early days, but who would you prefer paired up to Bilal Coulibaly in the future? Isaiah Collier, the freshman point guard for USC, or Alexander Sarr, the 6'11" power forward / center for the Perth Wildcats of Australia. Jahadi, I don't know how much you've been paying attention to draft stuff already, but it's basically dynamic point guard or long rangey big who can cover a lot of ground. Or does it matter? To me, I would just take whoever you think is better and move with it. I wouldn't worry about fit.
But right now we need both.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Give us both of them.
Yeah.
Because we need a dynamic point guard. We need a dynamic point guard.
You need everything. I mean, really, I would take every position.
Also, you need some rebound stats.
Yeah.
You have some more rim protection.
I would never say no to more wings, too. I would take any position they can get.
So, nothing's fair. Nothing's safe right now.
Yep. DJ asked basically a similar question of just who are the top 5 prospects that the Wizards should be considering. It's whoever the 5 most talented guys on the board are, when it's their turn to draft. I know that's a cop-out, but they're going to do a lot of work. This front office really evaluates and scouts things. They prioritize athleticism. Athletic wings has been a staple of every one of these guys wherever they've been. So Stefan Castle, freshman for UConn, Zachary Rissochet, French player, has been shooting the shit out of it. Another long 6'8" guy. Cody Williams, it's Jalen Williams' little brother, freshman at Colorado. Ron Holland, Geely Goodnight. Like any of those guys, I think are going to be somebody that appeals to this particular front office.
Yeah. I think it's what you're looking for. The problem, like now, is I think gone are the days of the big three, the big two.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look for, you gotta say, okay, in this specific position, as a 3 guy, we want all of these things that come with a 3 guy. Right. So now and efficiently, some, so like a Denny,
mm-hmm.
he does so many other things, right? He's not a major guy though.
It's a solid piece. Yeah.
Yeah, solid piece. I think right now that's a perfect way to state it. We have to find solid pieces in each position.
Yeah.
More than try to find big names who can light up the scoreboard. Because if you could, if we had a solid piece at the 2, we may be a little more, right? If we had so sometimes solid pieces work better than big names. Because then what happens with solid pieces, they work better together.
Yeah. Yeah, you can be greater than the sum of your parts if you're all bought in and you can all do a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
I'm kind of over seeing one-way players. So if someone doesn't at least have the potential to be a 2-way player, I wouldn't even draft them.
It's a no-go.
Let's see. Cartaldo asked, how does Dawkins avoid the replication of the apparent abyss that is Detroit? What their GM Weaver has done so poorly? Like, what has their GM Weaver done so poorly in the rebuild? And so I always say this, like I just said a minute ago, they should take the most talented guy, but it has to be the most, like, best player available doesn't work if you're going to draft a guy at a position that you'll never actually play him at or allow him to play a role that he's good at. So if you draft 4 centers, you're not going to play 2 centers out there together at a time. So a guy's never going to fully maximize or show what he can do if he doesn't get on the court. They've got Wiseman who barely plays. They've got Marvin Bagley who barely plays. I know they didn't draft Bagley, but they added him cheap, young later. Like, at some point, that you have to put them in a position, I think, where they can actually grow and play and develop, or they're never actually going to turn into best player available, if that makes sense.
I just feel like Detroit is, they have a tunnel vision with the talent. To me, Detroit has a lot of the same person.
Yeah, they don't fit. It's just what you just
it's all
talked
the
about.
Same person.
Yeah.
Playing, some may be more talented than the other, but it's the same individual. So to me, whoever's doing the scouting and picking the guys, they only see one type.
Right.
And they're like, I like that type. But now you're putting a lot of those types out there. I mean, yeah, individually on the team, on other teams, they could really add to a team, right?
Exactly.
Like, there's too many Coulibalys on one team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some of these guys, if you send them somewhere else and they take a huge jump forward, people are gonna be like, "Oh, what did Detroit do wrong?" But I think it would make a lot of sense. Like, Jaden Ivey is the one that Wizards fans really wanted a couple years ago. He looks terrible every time I see him play for them, but he just doesn't fit. So, and now you're going to play him next to a Sore Thompson who can't shoot, with 2 bigs who can't shoot.
Detroit looks like an overtime team.
Right, exactly. Just here are the best high school guys that we could get from the recruiting class.
I mean, it's talent out there, but it just looks bad.
Yeah. I totally agree.
A lot of youth, though. It's a lot of youth over there, which I do like.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're talented guys. I'd rather have talent than no talent, so it's not the worst problem to have. But now you got to start to make it fit into a basketball team, and they haven't done that yet. CDK asked, why isn't Eugene Amarui getting regular rotation minutes? What does Mike Muscala do better than Amarui? And I would just say Muscala's only playing like 11 minutes a game, so he's not probably the biggest impediment to more Gino minutes. Gino's played about 6. I think some of that's contract. Gino is on a 2-way. He can only spend 50 games with the Wizards. I expect he plays more the second half of the year when they clear some dudes out. But spacing, honestly, Muscala is a career almost 40% shooter. And Gino is a career under 30% shooter. That's probably part of it too, but it's just dynamics. Can you move Muscala? Can you turn him into anything? Gino, they've got to find there, so they don't want to have to rush to do anything with them.
You can't even compare the positions.
Yeah.
They're not really the same position. If you make Amarui what he should be, he's not a 5.
As an energy 4 kind of.
Yeah, energy 4. Yeah. You gotta kind of got a
Vanderbilt kind of guy.
Kind of like look at him in a Zion of energy 4, more defense than offense, a hounder, aggressive, rebounder, a body, quickness. Yep. You have all these things that you don't usually have in a body like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not, he does know how to go for his shot. He's not afraid to.
Sure.
But is he super skilled? No. It's just so. I don't think one is the other.
Yeah. Right. Muscala's your stretch big. Amarui is your Jared Vanderbilt type.
Right. So now, but you just got to say, you got to teach Amarui to be controlled, poised, you got to kind of get his aggressiveness and his out of controlness that really helps us out, somehow organize it.
Yeah, channel it in the right direction.
Yeah, channel it, because he could really help us out in that sense.
Yep, I agree.
No one wants to be guarded and played by Amarui all night.
He's annoying as shit.
Annoying as hell if he doesn't get in foul trouble.
Right.
Nobody want that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially come February and veteran guys are slowing down. You're like, I got to chase this dude the whole game.
This guy boxing you out.
Yeah.
Rebound. Man, come on, man. He gives you a lot. You just got to figure out how to play the guy.
Yeah, he'll be a guy that I think they ramp up more as the year goes on. One more thing asked, if the Wizards trade Poole and or Kuzma, how bad exactly are the Wizards on a scale of all-time terrible teams? We talked about this a little bit the other week. The 76ers went 9-73 back in 1972-73. I'll be honest with you, if they got rid of Poole, I don't know that they'd be that much worse. They might actually be technically better on paper right now. So
at this point, who cares? It's
right.
about the goal going forward.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you. I think bottoming out is cool. Just play hard and show some improvement for the young guys.
At this point, you got to look at it as, all right, do we risk being on the worst team ever board by getting rid of 2 guys, or is the goal to say, hey, look, now we got to change the culture of this whole place?
Right.
Like, and you're gonna have to sacrifice one to get the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess which is worse? Losing so many games somebody calls you the worst team ever, or winning too many games and ending up not near the number 1 pick. I'd much rather be called the worst team and get the first pick than be called a not as bad team but still shitty and get the 6th pick.
Right. Because it's not about now.
Yep. MJ Fenster asked almost the same thing. How many games do you think the Wizards will win this year? Do you think they will have one of the 5 worst records in the league? I still think that they're going to get close to that over-under mark of like 24.5-ish. So I would see somewhere in that range. Czech Wiz fan asked, realistically, looking at other teams in similar situations, how long do you think this rebuild could take until the Wizards are reasonable again, or a reasonably average team again? So many people think easy peasy 3 years and we're superstars. I look at Detroit and I can imagine 10 years. What is more realistic?
I say in 2 to 3. I say 2 to 3 because we have some juggernauts up there, right? Who knows how to, with a lot of experience of dealing with a network of people who's very close to it.
Yep.
Right. So it's not like a new GM or assistant or a vice president or anybody calling and saying, oh, well, I don't deal with that guy very well. I got to get to know him. There's no getting to knowing any of these guys in the organization now.
There's 3 of them who have been around and done this before. Yeah.
Right. So, you calling your homeboy.
Yeah. Between the 3 of them, somebody on this team knows that's a good relationship with with someone on every other team. And
exactly. So it's easy to make deals.
everybody probably talks about Will Dawkins and Michael Winger and less about Travis Schlenk, but that guy turned around a Hawks team in 3 years. Like, he built a solid core. He had a vision for the team, and it hasn't gone probably as well as they would have wanted. But they also started, the wheels fell off when they pivoted away and started listening to the owner's kid. That wasn't a Schlenk thing. They gave up on the vision a little too early, but he made them an awful team to a second round playoff team in about a 3-year window. So it's not unreasonable to think, him and these other two really good guys can't do something similar, at least until they're respectable again in 2 to 3 seasons.
Right. I agree.
Reeves asks, pivoting away from the Wizards here a little bit to close us out, all-time Hoyas starting 5 made up of only Hoyas that have played in NBA games. So, and then pick a 6th man to come off the bench. So he's not just looking for like the 5 best Hoyas to play in the NBA. He wants you to make like an actual team out of it. I can give you my list first if you want a minute to think about it, but you know these guys better than I do, obviously. But I had AI, Jeff Green, Otto Porter, Patrick Ewing, and Jahadi White. Gotta shamelessly plug my guy here, and then Alonzo Mourning can come off the bench because suck it, Zoe.
That's a good list right there.
Mine was modernish team.
Yeah, definitely Jeff Green. AI, obviously.
You gotta put AI on that one. He's gonna be on everybody's list.
I put Jerome Williams there.
Love the junkyard dog, baby.
I need a guy who can just go and just a scrapper.
Okay.
Zoe.
I like it.
So no doubt.
Got one more starter and one more bench player. Did David Wingate play much he played in the NBA, right?
Yeah, he played in the NBA.
He was a good ass college player. I like to watch him.
Pat.
Yeah, kind of Pat.
Pat. As a Pat, I guess I had to put Pat as a starter. He's old on the bench. What I need. I got a point. I have
maybe another guard or a wing.
What's another guard? Let's see. NBA, another guard that played in Georgetown.
It's been a lot of bigs. That's why I went Otto. I couldn't really think a whole lot of other wings.
I can't really go anybody else.
Yeah. That hasn't really been the bread and butter of the JT2 teams.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Hopefully that's a good answer, Reeves. And Reeves, let us know who you would go with too. I want to hear your answer. All right, this one is not so much a question as just I thought it was kind of interesting. My buddy Austin sent me this article in the New York Times about how some of the top free throw shooters in South Korea shoot bank shot free throws. And these are guys that when they switched to bank shots, they massively raised their percentage. And these are like elite 90% free throw shooters banking in all their free throws. And they had an engineer do a big analysis about how it's actually, limits the things that can go wrong if you bank it in every time. If you could guarantee that shooting bank free throws would make you an 85% free throw shooter, would you do it?
Hell yeah. It's 2 points.
Yeah.
Who cares? They get used to it after a while.
Exactly. Right. I'm surprised it hasn't caught on more yet.
It makes sense. The bank shot is more efficient.
It's hard to mess it up if you get it down.
It's all about putting it exactly in the area. It's not about how the ball falls or anything. It's just
exactly.
Yeah.
They asked the guy that's like a 90% free throw shooter over there why he liked that. And he said exactly what you just said. He always has somewhere to aim. You just hit the square, it goes in. It's not muscle memory for the middle of the rim every time.
Square right there.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to aim. Yeah.
Right. It's a square right there.
I just remembered there was a thing while Shaq was still playing about they brought in Rick Barry, and Rick Barry taught him, the perfect underhand free throw technique.
Yeah.
And there was something about Shaq, hit 92 of 100 free throws in practice underhand.
He did.
And then was like, nah, I can't do it, man. That's
you can't do that.
I think the bank's a little less embarrassing.
Imagine Shaq shooting underhand free throws the majority of his career after he was taught that. that takes away from the
Shaq
aura
factor.
of Shaq. That turns a bull and automatically into a butterfly.
I love that. But Banks, he could have banked him in, and
now Banks, you'd be all right with Shaq going for Banks.
Yeah, that would have been okay.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I could live with that. All right, I think that's a good place to close this out here. We've gone pretty long. Jahadi, any other parting shots or thoughts or anything? They play the Magic again tonight. Think they're going to do any better this time around?
Yeah, they will. They will. I think
they're going to win this game. I'm going to put this on record here.
I think it's going to be a close game. I'm still concerned with us closing out games, even if it's close. It's not. I think we will have the option to win the game. It'll be up to us. The option will be on us to win the game. But when we have had the option to win a game, we don't understand how to. And we end up playing not to lose instead of to win.
Yep.
So,
right. Got to keep it up.
Right. So we could.
I like that. Don't add us if they win or if they lose by 35 tonight, folks. We're trying here, trying to end positively. All right, cool. I think that's all I got. So we'll catch y'all next time. Appreciate all the questions. Thanks for doing that. I think this is just kind of a fun, nice way to shake it up a quarter-ish way into the season here and just check in on some things. So thanks to all the questions. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're presented by betonline.ag, and we will catch y'all next time.
Peace.